Hi, I'm Uncle Ricky, and this is another episode of Uncle Ricky's House. Look, um, we got this thing going on in the United States right now, and the Temptations made a song that aptly describes the situation we're in, and that song was a number one hit. It's called "Ball of Confusion," and it talked about the status of the world and how citizens in the United States and the government were failing to interact, back in the 70s, 60s, and 70s. But let's go, fast forward to 2023, and it seems that we are living in a ball of confusion, and a lot of it has to do with the inability of our leaders to govern. And I'm saying that for both sides, Democrat and Republican. Democrats promise a lot and deliver little, and they have lofty goals, but they are guilty of throwing up their hands in defeat anytime they run into the least little bit of resistance. Or it has been that way, let's say, up until now. Now, the Republicans on the other side, and you have to put a time frame on this. Let's say the pre-Trump Republicans were all about money, drawing people together around the number of zeros in their bank accounts, as long as the first number wasn't a zero. Now, this has resulted in two, defined schools of thought, in American politics. We, describe ourselves as the left and the right, with Democrats and liberals being on the left, and conservatives and right-wing extremists being on the right. And they're always, since we've accepted this description of our American political system, there's always been infighting on each side, as well as the fighting between the two major parties or the two major sides. But somehow, somewhere along the line, all through these years, almost 250 years, we figured out how to make it work and come to some kind of compromise until recently. Since Trump came down the escalator and worked his way into the White House the first time, there has been a condition, especially on the right, where there is no compromise. In other words, Republicans say Democrats won't get a damn thing as long as we can block it, defund it, choke it off in committee, keep it from coming to the floor to be voted on. Every trick in the book. Mitch McConnell, he used to call himself the Grim Reaper, and now it looks like the Grim Reaper may be getting ready to reap his ass, but that's besides the point. The Congress of the United States is totally dysfunctional now because of infighting among the Republicans. The standard status quo conservative Republicans are fighting the extremist Freedom Caucus, MAGA, Ultra MAGA Republicans. And the bad part is, neither one of them has a platform to stand on except for cruelty to people and cutting social spend. Before we get back into this video, look, you can tell this one's going to be a barn burner, so go ahead, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the comment button, and help me out with some ad money. But really, if you really want to contribute, go ahead and hit the super thanks and do what you feel like. Back to the movie. But that's besides the point. The Congress of the United States is totally dysfunctional now because of infighting among the Republicans. I guess the standard status quo conservative Republicans are fighting the extremist Freedom Caucus, MAGA, ultra MAGA Republicans. Because, and the bad part is, neither one of them has a platform to stand on except for cruelty to people and cutting social spending, and it's all about right-wing, conservative, Christian, theocratic, autocratic government. You know, we want small government. You know, dealing with as few people as possible, and we are going to ensure that the Republicans are always those people. And then you have the corruption. You got corruption on both sides. But one party seems to make it part of their platform, while the other party will basically cut off people at the first hint of being caught in something corrupt. Now, what is really unique about where we are now with Matt Gaetz from Florida, MAGA Republican, got Kevin McCarthy kicked out of his position as Speaker of the House. Now, one thing you really should remember is that Gaetz never voted for McCarthy during any of the 16 rounds of voting or 15 rounds of voting that it took to get McCarthy in the seat in the first place. And he has been a solid detractor of Gaetz. There's something personal between Gaetz and McCarthy, and Gaetz being the ultimate juvenile in the room, like his well, I don't even know if this is his idol anymore, but his compatriot, his patriarch, Donald John, he basically decided to, you know, pull the plug on the whole works just to get Kevin. He doesn't care about what it means to the rest of the country. But I don't think Matt Gaetz really understood what he was doing, and if he did, he is really more demented than I thought he was in the beginning. But anyway, he's left the country in a lurch. We don't have a regular Speaker of the House. We have a Speaker pro temp who, judging from his few public appearances since he was made Speaker pro temp, that he's not really into the job as Speaker of the House. But the rest of the world has contributed mightily to this dilemma, fiasco that we are experiencing on our own Capitol Hill. The Democrats, for once, didn't give up the bathwater, or didn't throw the baby out with the bathwater. They stood their ground. I mean, how are you going to? And they're even getting blamed for basically doing the right thing. How are you going to blame an entire political party for voting to remove somebody that has only dealt with them dishonestly from day one? Every deal that was made, including the ones with the president to save our economy, McCarthy, and sometimes within a matter of hours, reneged on them. A lot of the deals he made with, I guess you could call regular Republicans, he folded just to placate the extreme MAGA portion of the Republican Party. And the first time that McCarthy went against them, and he went against them to save the country, because the MAGA, you know, the nationalists, the white supremacists, all of them together, they were trying to choke the country economically by not voting to fund the government, another government shutdown. And McCarthy said, you know what, we can't do this, and I can't do this anymore. Uh, he came to an agreement with the Democrats, and the House and the Senate passed continuing resolutions, and the government will continue to operate at least for another 40 some days. That's problem number one. What are we going to do when we run out of the 40 days and the Republicans perhaps may not have come up with another Speaker of the House? It's gotten so frayed. I mean, the two leading nominees are Jim Jordan and Steve Scalise. Jim Jordan, he could be guilty of obstructing justice. He also could be guilty of participating in an insurrection while being a seated congressperson. And he's really guilty of just being a butthead, an asshole, a provocateur. He is the ultimate MAGA politician, raising money, raising hell, raising money, raising hell, and not accomplishing a damn thing that is good for the people of America. Steve Scalise, this is a quote about that he said about himself. He says, "I'm David Duke without the baggage." In other words, if you don't know who David Duke is, David Duke was the leader of the KKK during the 80s, part of the 90s. He's also an avowed white supremacist. And this is what a congressman from the state of Louisiana says that he is the most like. I'm David Duke without the baggage. In other words, I don't have the law hanging over my head because I never claimed the Klan. But all the other stuff that Duke was down with, Scalise is down with it. So this is what we're looking at to become in reality, the third most powerful person in the country. Because the Speaker of the House, if something happens to the President, the Vice President is next in line to become President. If something happens to the President and the Vice President can't take over the White House, then the Speaker of the House becomes the President. And now we got the potential of having these two clowns. McCarthy was a clown himself, but maybe we could have made it if something happened. But with Jordan and Scalise and their real inability to actually govern for the benefit of all people, we're in deep, dark shit here. That's one part. Let's say that's the domestic spin on the situation we're in. Like I said, the Republicans are blaming the Democrats for what happened to their own guy when he was removed under rules that they made themselves that the Democrats didn't want to have anything to do with. And now they don't know what to do because it's exposing the infighting in their own caucus, and it's also exposing them for being the dunderheads that they really are. They don't know how to govern. They don't know how to handle problems. They don't, unless they can bullshit their way through with their favorite, talking point, God, guns, and patriotism. They don't have anything constructive to say, except we need to cut back on spending. $33 trillion in debt is going to kill us. Well, you're right. $33 trillion is a big nut to make, but don't sit there and act like the other side did all of that when your party and the prospective choice of your party for the 2024 election, his administration built 1/4 of that debt in 4 years. All the rest of it is a combination of all the Republican and Democratic administrations Administrations, what, since the 1900s? It's all smoke and mirrors. And they've lied so much that their lies have caught up to them. Now they're telling lies to protect their lives. Now, internationally, America just got gaffed for what happened between Israel and Hamas. Hamas attacked Israel over the weekend. Rockets abducted a bunch of Israeli citizens. They're threatening to, if their demands aren't met, they're going to kill Israeli citizens they abducted from some music festival. It's a mess. But now our handicapped government is going to be expected to weigh in on this, and we really can't because we have no Congress, because we have no Speaker of the House, or we do not have an effective Speaker of the House to operate under the conditions that we are in now. And the choices that we have for Speaker of the House, we know how that's going to end up. It's going to just, they are clowns trying to be ringmasters, and they're going to bring the whole tent down on everybody. And America is going to suffer. The world will suffer. And the only reason is it's all behind what? Vanity, glory, need to be superior. Instead of just being what we say we are, working towards the goals that, we got put in every history book, that we see in every courthouse, we still want to be about the few ruling the many. Well, that's it for me, Uncle Ricky. Y'all can think about it, meditate on it, get back to me if you want. But that's it for now. So peace out and God bless until the next time. See you when I see you.